Today we're talking about getting switched on, about being at your best. I got that term actually when I was in Australia. Any people from Australia here? Fantastic. My mates, I was down there working with Tony Robbins, setting him up on that first tour back in the early 90s. And my mates would say, oh, mate, you switched on today. You got me switched on. I knew that was good, right? How many people do you know who are switched off? Because here's the key. Have you ever had somebody new come into your company that's so excited to get that job, they love what they do, they don't even know what they don't know yet? You know people like that? I call those people ignorance on fire. The opposite of ignorance on fire, people been around too long, I call them knowledge on ice. Because part of my goal is when you go to your place of employment or you go home at the end of the day, I mean, you should walk in, you should brighten that place when you walk in. Is that true? Yeah. I didn't get unanimous from that. You should brighten that place when you walk in. Is that true? Yeah. Here's the danger. Some people brighten it each day when they leave. You don't want to be that person. Because I still think right now, it's still fairly easy to be successful in the world today. What do y'all think? Here's why. It's fairly easy to be successful. That's okay. You're not going to agree with everything I have to say. Take it from this angle. It's fairly easy to be successful because there's so many people who are satisfied with being mediocre. My favorite band is U2. Any U2 fans here? Everybody else ever hear of U2? Big Irish band, Bono, The Edge, right? And last year still had the biggest tour, over 554 million. Not a bad year, okay? One of those you're probably set, right? And Bono was talking about the process several years ago of a song called Vertigo. Wins the Grammy off an album that won the Grammy. And this is what happens. Hopefully this is what you've done here, trying to work on your business, taking it to the next level. And this is what they said. They've been in the studio for months, multiple producers, listening to it. And Bono recalls an early version that, and I love this language, that was massaged, hammered, tweaked, and lubed. You got to go into the studio and work on stuff, is that right? Because not everything works the way it should. And this is what he said. They listened to it. Everybody agreed that song was very good. Most people, after working on something hard, get to very good, we do what? Stop, because gosh, it's very good. This is what Bono said. Very good is the enemy of great. You think great is right next door? It's not. It's in another country.
I've had the privilege of knowing Chip now for about 8 years. We've done dozens of events together. One of the things and one of the reasons I highly recommend Chip is he comes in early, makes sure he understands the audience, the strategy, the campaigns you might be embarking upon, and then brings it the next day in the presentation. And he just not only gets the audience switched on, but he comes switched on, and the results have been fabulous.
Being good at what you do becomes the enemy of being great at what you do. When somebody comes in, and the host has got 242, they're ready. That welcome, there's a good way to do it. Is that right? And there's a great way to do it. Engagement factor, intonation, proximity, eye contact, the feeling transferred. Is that true? There's a chasm between that way. If you're having a great goodbye, using their name, I understand you have that great memory expert, using those tricks to remember people's name, shaking their hand and say, we so much appreciate your business. We look forward to seeing you next time. There's a good way and a great way. Is that true? The challenge is, because of the numbers of your business, you have to do stuff how often? Over and over and over. You got to keep up at that bar, right? The gap. And it's a myth that the length of time you do something equates to how good you are at it. What do you think? You ever talk to people? How long have you been a manager? I've been a manager for 12 years. They think just because they've been doing it 12 years, they're great. Is it possible they're mistaken? Some people learned a lot that first year, and they repeated that first year of experience 12 years in a row. Good gut check question for you. How much better are you at what you do than you were last year? Where have you raised the bar? Where have you turned those little errors into new disciplines? What have you done better?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, Chip just took it. He took the energy. He made everybody remind themselves why they're in the business, what makes it so important. And he actually had them break through any kind of mental barriers that they had for themselves and how they could make the best for themselves, their families, and their workplace and get to the finish line.
Was dealing with a program. It was a company for Ameriprise Financial. And they have a group called RiverSource Distributors that sells their products to their financial advisors. And I asked the top guy, hey, can you look back and think of was there a moment in your career where it turned you around? He said there was. We had to focus and change the way we went to market. We had A, B, and C advisors we called on. We had to spend a lot more time with A, high opportunity advisors, and I had to totally reorganize everything I did. And I was getting advice, and he said, you need to do this and this and this and this. And I was like, my territory is a little different. I think I can do it this way. And then he just looked at me and said, hey, why are you fighting to be average? That was the moment when everything turned around. There's a fill in the blank there. It says, am I fighting to be average? What are you not willing to do? Are you willing to do the little things to make sales easier? I guarantee you, if you start getting a lot more quality testimonies, you start practicing telling your story, you start recording yourself, your percentage of calls to appointments made is going to go up. Is that true? The equation's going to get better. If you have a way to create a VIP list and stay in touch with people and be an added resource, you'll get more referrals.
And the entire team was really switched on by what Chip Eichelberger had to say today. He opened our meeting, he closed our meeting, and during one of the breaks, I just stood up in front of the team and said, the break is outdoors, please be back in 20 minutes, but if you're not committed and engaged and switched on, just don't bother to come back. And some people laughed, but then they stopped and realized I was serious, and we really were. What a great day. We made a great decision in bringing Chip.
So the crux of my message to get switched on is in this box right here. It says this. It's showtime when you guys get face-to-face or on the phone with a customer. Is that right? Showtime. You got to be able to bring it. You can't wing it. There's not a great athlete. There's not a great actor. There's not a great singer. There's not a great salesperson that doesn't do something before they get on, quote, stage to prepare. Is that true? I'm just saying there's times in your life it's showtime. Is that right? You do a lot of things, quote, virtually. Is that true? How many of you do conference calls? Now, be honest, most of them are hideous. Aren't they? I mean, there's no real energy. It's like, oh, boy. How many of you, when you do a presentation, can you tell if that person's into it? Okay, here's the key. You ask, everybody stand up for me real quick. Stand up for me real quick. Grab your little card, and I'll show you something. Grab your little card. Put your stuff down. Grab your little card. Here's what I've learned. You see where it says, where am I now, 0 to 10? So here's what I want to do. Take a second, ask yourself, where am I now? 10 is unstoppable, 0 is comatose. Just ask yourself, where are you right now? I'm going to teach you a trigger or a routine to get switched on immediately. Some of you already do this. But motion creates emotion. Everybody say this? Motion creates emotion. Okay, let's say it less like a robot, a little more energy. Come on. Motion creates emotion. Think about it. When you're on a roll and doing well, do you walk differently? Breathe differently, move differently. Some people are so sedentary, they're not switched on enough because they're not moving. Is that possible? So here's what I'd like you to do. Stand, big smile on your face, big smile on your face. And on the count of 3, we're just going to go 1, 2, 3. Yes, like that. Big fun. Here we go. Big smile. 1, 2, 3. Yes! Now, where was that 0 to 10? It was pretty good first try. A couple people got to take your hands out of your pockets for me. Just for fun, I want you to do it one more time at a level 40, but hold it for 5 seconds. I share something with you magical. Go level 40, hold it for 5 seconds. Here we go. 1, you too, sir. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yes! Now hold that. Turn around, look at your friends. Turn around, look at your friends. Turn around, turn around, turn around. Here's the money question in your business. Is it possible you picked up the phone and you didn't have this energy? Is it possible that sometimes after the 14th customer of the day that you don't have this energy? Is that possible? Okay, better than popping a Red Bull in the afternoon, knowing motion creates emotion. Maybe you go out in the back room and you do 10 jumping jacks. I don't know, take a walk. Take a 10-minute walk. Get out of the store. You can't be in there 12 hours at a time. Is that true? Okay, so here's the key. Put that little card up where you can see it. How often do you need to ask, where am I now, 0 to 10? More than once a month. Does that make sense? You can save that down day from being the down month. Okay, one more yes. Let's finish up here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah!
Putting the throttle down in the morning with his address to our group just really gave our team, our 200 employees, the energy to go through the entire day. And the pinnacle, the icing on the cake, was at nearing the end of the program, bringing Chip up and going through the board breaking exercise and watching the impossible become possible.
Over 940 events and 6 years with Tony Robbins. Chip will do his homework to tie into your theme, customize his message, and create valuable sticky content. He engages the audience, gets them involved, engaging each other, and making decisions to switch on, take action, and own their performance.
He's very prepared, does a good job, he's got great energy, he really challenges you, he makes you think, and he puts together a program that I think is really impactful. I'd recommend him to anybody.